Next on Current News, an outpouring of love to save a devastated city.
The Maronite Catholic community in Brooklyn doing everything it can to get help back to Lebanon after the devastating explosion in Beirut. I'm Jessica Easthope, and that's ahead.
Gunfire in Kenosha, Wisconsin. 2 people are dead as protests rage on in the city. Melania Trump headlining the Republican National Convention, where other speakers declared all life is sacred. Disaster is facing Texas and Louisiana. Hurricane Laura is barreling toward them, and it's a monster. Plus, outreach from the Diocese of Brooklyn stretches across the country.
This letter proving that putting masses online helps to reach an audience across the country. I'm Emily Drooby, and I'll show you how.
The news starts right now. Good evening, I'm Christine Persichetti. The drive to rebuild Beirut getting a big boost in Brooklyn. An enormous explosion brought the city to its knees earlier this month. Now prayers and contributions offered at Our Lady of Lebanon Maronite Cathedral in Brooklyn Heights are turning misery into hope. Current News' Jessica Easthope has the story of the service.
Beirut cannot break easily.
Knocked down by devastation, Lebanon needs to heal. And the Maronite Catholic community is doing everything it can to turn its sorrow into action.
It's time to pray. I mean, it's always time to pray, but Lebanon really needs our prayers.
Tuesday night, parishioners and clergy gathered at Our Lady of Lebanon Maronite Catholic Cathedral in Brooklyn Heights, their prayers and donations making their way across the world to Beirut after parts of the city were destroyed earlier this month.
This terrible explosion is a sign for us to rise up and to reaffirm our great love for Lebanon.
On August 4th, a massive explosion shook the country's capital. The blast killed nearly 200 people and injured more than 6,000.
We're still mourning, we're still sad, we're still angry, but the power of prayer is higher than any power.
Cardinal Timothy Dolan spoke of Lebanon's beauty and what its blending of religions and cultures represents.
Lebanon is an icon. So when Lebanon suffers, like she is now, the human project suffers.
It's believed government mismanagement of a stockpile of ammonium nitrate caused the explosion. But now, as different theories swirl throughout the nation, the Lebanese people are demanding answers.
Let's have an independent study of this. I think it has to be studied very carefully. Every document and every history of this.
The Eparchy of St. Maron of Brooklyn and Our Lady of Lebanon Cathedral have already sent nearly $800,000 back to Lebanon. $15,000 was raised Tuesday night. Church officials say fundraising efforts in the Eparchy will continue. In Brooklyn Heights, Jessica Easthope, Current News.
There are several ways you can help the people of Lebanon. The Catholic Near East Welfare Association at cnewa.org is where you can make a contribution. You can make a donation at caritas.org, and monetary gifts through Aid to the Church in Need are being accepted at churchinneed.org. We'll repeat this information at the end of the newscast. The Knights of Columbus is pitching in to help the people of Lebanon. The group is donating $250,000. Supreme Knight Carl Anderson is saying the aid is necessary because the calamity in Beirut is threatening the existence of Christianity in the Middle East. The money is going to Caritas, the St. Vincent de Paul Society, and the Norsat Christian Media Network, among others. The chairman of Norsat, Jack El Khalasi, is minutes away. He's on the ground in Beirut and will give us an update on all that's being done to get the city back on its feet. That's still ahead in this newscast. Deadly violence early this morning in Kenosha, Wisconsin, when protesters confronted a group of armed men. 2 people are dead and a third wounded after more chaos in Kenosha. Cops are saying there was a clash between demonstrators protesting the shooting of Jacob Blake and the armed men. A 17-year-old from Illinois has been arrested in connection to the shooting. Blake, a black resident of Kenosha, was shot this week by a white police officer. A Blake family attorney is saying the 29-year-old father of 3 is partially paralyzed after being hit 7 times by police bullets. He's hospitalized in stable condition. His mom is praying for her son and for healing.
As I pray for my son's healing, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, I also have been praying, even before this, for the healing of our country.
As protests rage on, state investigators are saying little about the Blake shooting. 2 cops involved in the incident have been put on leave. It's Vice President Mike Pence's turn to take the mic tonight at the Republican National Convention. His wife Karen will also speak, as will several other women in high-ranking political positions within the GOP. Last night was about family and faith.
To all houses of worship and to all people of faith stripped of our religious freedoms and religious liberties, my Father will fight for you.
Tuesday's RNC theme was Land of Opportunity, and religious freedom was a big part of that. Sissy Graham Lynch, Reverend Billy Graham's granddaughter, claimed that the left has tried to silence the religious.
Even during the pandemic, we saw how quickly life can change. Some Democratic leaders tried to ban church services, while marijuana shops and abortion clinics were declared essential.
Abortion was a big topic of the night. Former Planned Parenthood employee turned anti-abortion activist Abby Johnson rallying voters to get behind President Trump.
Because he has done more for the unborn than any other president. During his first month in office, he banned federal funds for global health groups that promote abortion.
And the Covington Catholic teen who, after attending the March for Life in D.C. last year, was caught on video during an encounter with protesters on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, spoke about cancel culture.
Canceled is what's happening to people around this country who refuse to be silenced by the far left. Many are being fired, humiliated, or even threatened.
First Lady Melania Trump spoke from the Rose Garden, reaching out to women voters while making a case for her husband.
Just as you are fighting for your families, my husband, our family, and the people in this administration are here fighting for you.
And President Trump's daughter, Tiffany, who graduated from law school during the pandemic, made an appeal to young voters.
My father built a thriving economy once, and believe me, he will do it again.
President Trump also made a couple of appearances last night and is sure to tonight as well before formally accepting the nomination tomorrow. Right now, Hurricane Laura is a monster and it's on its way to devastate Texas and Louisiana. When the Category 4 storm hits land later tonight, its swirling winds are expected to top 150 miles per hour. 20 million Americans are in the hurricane's crosshairs. Chris James is in Beaumont, Texas with the latest.
We are just hours away from Hurricane Laura making landfall here along the Gulf Coast. I'm in the city of Beaumont, Texas right now, where we are starting to feel some of the initial effects of Laura, a few drops of rain and some wind. Just before this, a major squall came through here, but it's only going to get worse as the night goes on. This storm is now officially a Category 4, meaning we are going to see some severe damage across the path of this storm. And right now, people here in this community are on edge. Just driving around, you can feel the level of anxiety and preparation for the storm. Stores have been closed. You can't even find fast food. Homes are boarded up. People are desperate to get out of Laura's path because the potential for this rapidly intensifying storm wreaking havoc on this region is huge. And the governor of Louisiana recently said in a press conference just a short while ago that he's concerned that there could be storm surges of up to 20 feet, which could be unsurvivable for people. Also, the governor of Texas said in a press conference that he's getting reports that some people are not heeding the warnings to get out. So people need to listen and get out now because this storm is only going to get worse from here. Reporting in Beaumont, Texas, I'm Chris James.
There's a breakthrough tonight in the battle against the mega fires devastating California. Thanks to lower temperatures and weaker winds, firefighters are getting a handle on the flames. Destruction from the fires is extensive. At least 7 people are dead and more than 1,400 buildings destroyed. The wildfires have burned more than 1 million acres of land. That's 6 times the size of New York City. There's a lot more news headed your way. An update on how people in Lebanon are doing 3 weeks after the Beirut blast from someone who's on the ground there. Plus, after months of lockdowns and live streams, it's the Pope in person. We'll tell you when the Holy Father will resume his general audiences. And she might be thousands of miles away, but she still takes part in Mass every Sunday in Queens. We'll explain.
Now you can help us put your faith in the news. The next time you capture a newsworthy event, send us your pictures or video. It's easy. Go to netny.tv/send us, and you may see your submission on Currents News.
As we mentioned earlier, it's been 3 weeks since the explosion in Lebanon. Thousands of people's lives turned upside down after the Beirut blast. Joining us now with an update from Beirut is Jack El-Khalasi, chairman of Norsat Christian Media Network. And Jack, first of all, how are you and your family doing?
Christina, thank you very much. We are doing well. Despite all this pressure we are feeling from left and right, and now we woke up on a disaster, you know. In the first 2 days, we knew it's a disaster, but now we are seeing more than we have seen the last moment. We are seeing the details of the blast. Thanks God. Thank you for the questions. We are all okay.
What about your news studio? It was devastated in the explosion. How has that affected your staff and your ability to cover the news Christians in the country need to know?
Well, we are trying to persist, to stay on air. This is the first objective. And we have open board meetings almost every day. What we are trying to do is rent materials and buy airtime and try to survive in this. It's costly, but we have to stay because our TV station is the lung from where the Christians of the Middle East breathe dignity and pride, and it's a bridge for them to the other world. And you know, all the TV, I always say, it's all the TVs around the world, they show what's happening on this earth. Our TV shows what's going to happen on the other eternity. So we have to survive. But we woke up on 6,000 injuries, 70,000, I can say, partly damaged, not totally damaged, apartments, 8,000 unhabitable houses, 300,000 persons homeless. And I would say those are the statistics given yesterday, and 15,000 institutions, including shops, supermarkets, markets, offices, partly and heavily demolished. In total, it's a disaster. This is, we have 220 killed. Still, after 3 weeks of this blast, there are 10 of people missing, unfortunately.
Oh my goodness.
They could not find.
So describe for us the mood in the country right now. How are people feeling about the government?
Well, the mood all over the country, I could say in one word, traumatic. Traumatic. The government is helpless. They're trying to do what they can do. But due to these severe, pressure of 30, 40 years of corruption, of robbery, stealing, you know it, and you name it, and it has been declared all over, the government is almost paralyzed. It's almost the people. If the mood is, in one word, I said traumatic, for my generation, the situation brought back very bad memories. I lost a brother when I was young, 25 years. I lost a brother in a similar blast, but it was a bomb. In a similar blast. So it's opening up old scars.
Right.
For the new generation, especially the kids, who have witnessed now blood and destruction. They are still unaware what they're going to feel in the future and how they're going to heal themselves. I would say people in Lebanon now are like a broken vase. You can glue it together. You can try to fix it. You may be able to repair it, but in the end, it will always be there to remind you.
All right, we're praying for you, Jack El-Khalasi, chairman of the Norsat Christian Media Network. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very, very much. God bless you. Thank you.
Pope Francis is resuming his weekly meetings with pilgrims in person. The Holy Father's public audiences will begin on September 2nd. For almost 6 months, the Pope's teachings have gone out to the world over live stream due to the COVID crisis. Now they will be held with people present, but won't be in St. Peter's Square. Instead, the San Damaso courtyard inside the Apostolic Palace will be the site. No word yet on how many pilgrims will be permitted to attend. Keeping the faith online is the way Catholics made it through the pandemic. Live stream masses became a staple when parishes in the Diocese of Brooklyn couldn't have people in the pews. Now, even though churches are open again, a woman thousands of miles away still takes part in Mass every Sunday in Queens. Currents News' Emily Drooby has the story from Bayside.
Dear Monsignor Michalski and Father Alex,
Monsignor Thomas Michalski in Queens was surprised to receive this letter from Eugene, Oregon.
I wonder what this is about.
The pastor of Sacred Heart of Jesus in Bayside amazed that a Catholic woman from across the country was watching his masses online.
She found us by chance on YouTube, and she liked my homily on the Feast of Corpus Christi.
The parish started posting their masses to YouTube because of the pandemic. Mary Arndt found them while searching Google.
And I just was really lucky to stumble across Sacred Heart Parish in Bayside, New York.
Mary's church wasn't online. She had been watching masses from California, but they ended when the church reopened. She went on the hunt for a new parish and discovered this homily.
There is no room for any discrimination.
It was Monsignor Michalski talking about healing divisiveness and accepting diversity.
It was just such a great message, and his sermon was so well put together.
The next Sunday, Mary went back to Sacred Heart of Jesus' YouTube page and liked the homily about the pandemic delivered by the parochial vicar, Father Alex Lee.
You never know how the Holy Spirit is going to use what you say, and it's just what somebody else needs to hear. And in this case, it was somebody way on the other side of the country.
Mary was inspired to send a donation and write this letter, intended as a thank you. It became much more.
It was a good morale booster. What we're doing really makes a difference in people's lives.
Monsignor Michalski wrote back to Mary, thanking her for watching.
I did not expect to get really any kind of acknowledgement, and to get a handwritten one was incredible.
2 letters leading to one beautiful new friendship and a Catholic connection spanning the country from Eugene, Oregon to Sacred Heart of Jesus in Bayside.
You reached people far across the country who are very grateful.
Parishioners might be back in these pews, but the church will continue to live stream and post their masses to YouTube for the foreseeable future. In Bayside, Queens, Emily Drooby, Currents News.
Still to come on Currents News, a new statue spotted in the city paying tribute to some influential women. We'll tell you who's on it and where you can check it out. Also ahead, she's breaking records and raising thousands. The story of this nun on the run when we come back. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. The first ever monument dedicated to real women is now standing in Central Park. The unveiling taking place this morning, showing pioneers in the women's rights movement. Statues of Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Stanton, and Sojourner Truth make up the display. Before today, Central Park statues of real people included only men, 23 of them. And some big developments tonight about Mother Cabrini statues in the Big Apple, including one currently being built in Battery Park City. The monument will be finished and dedicated in a ceremony with Brooklyn Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio on Columbus Day of this year. That's October 12th. Bishop DiMarzio spearheaded the project after the saint was snubbed in a contest by New York's First Lady Charlene McCray. And Currents News is learning about another statue dedicated to the patroness of immigrants. The Diocese of Brooklyn is building a monument to Mother Cabrini with donations that weren't needed for the Battery Park statue. It will be erected at Sacred Hearts and St. Stephen Church in Carroll Gardens. Mother Cabrini worked at the parish, educating Italian immigrant children. A young girl in Florida is going to great lengths to help those in need. Casey Moore turning her songwriting talents into an instrument of healing. Chris Gilmore has more on that story.
Music has been a part of 11-year-old Casey Moore's life since she picked up a violin at the age of 3.
I enjoyed it more and more as I grew older.
And now as she practices piano every day.
When I practice, it feels like some part of me inside of me gets alive.
Because of the pandemic, she's been able to dedicate more time to her passion
Yeah.
at home with family.
Want to learn more.
Her dad, Dr. Henry Moore, is a neurologist at the University of Miami, specializing in movement disorders like Parkinson's disease.
That he helps people that suffer from this terrible disease called Parkinson. And this disease affects their brain.
She's doing fantastic.
Dr. Moore has been spending more time working from his home office, giving Casey a chance to feed her curiosity while her dad remotely cares for his patients.
She was very moved about people, how they were very disabled, and then with the medication they were super happy and so hopeful that this disease will stop.
Yeah, it really touched my heart, and I wanted to do something to help, but I wasn't sure how.
She added her own flavor to the battle against the life-changing disease, creating a fundraiser, Parkinson. The goal is to use music to raise money and awareness on behalf of the Parkinson's Foundation.
The way how we always have raised her is to think first on others, and that will give you happiness.
Casey's music and kind heart quickly got the attention of some big names.
My friend Gloria Stefan. The dreams that we envisioned seem to crumble in our head.
Casey's dad says she's onto something with the healing power of music.
Definitely. And there is music therapy even tested for Parkinson's disease patients, and then it helps.
Despite the ongoing search for a cure, Casey says she hopes Parkinson's patients listening to Parkinson still take something away from the music.
I hope they get a little more cheerful and just a little happier.
That was Chris Gilmore reporting. Casey has already raised over $2,500 for the Parkinson's Foundation. And finally tonight, big congratulations to a nun in Chicago who raised thousands of dollars for those in need, all while breaking a world record. Sister Stephanie Baglia ran the entire length of the Chicago Marathon on a treadmill. That's 26.2 miles, for anyone wondering. After the in-person event got canceled, Sister Stephanie decided she would still run over Zoom using the live stream to raise money for a local food pantry and shelter called the Mission of Our Lady of Angels. She raised over $90,000 and broke a Guinness World Record for the first female to run a marathon on a treadmill. And that is Currents News. Before we go, here again is where you can make a donation to help the people of Lebanon. CNEWA.org, Caritas.org, and ChurchInNeed.org. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.